Welcome to Tosche Station!
We're talking Star Wars.
More about the Force and how it should be used in The Force Awakens.
Episode 7! Alright, so today we're talking about The Force Awakens Episode 7 coming up. We want to talk about how the Force is used. We're going to talk about the original trilogy a little bit, the prequel trilogy a little bit, and then to Episode 7 and how we think the Force should be used in that, because the Force is such a huge part of the Star Wars universe. We think in the original trilogy it had something really special. That's where we're starting.
All right. Well, I mean, especially with the original trilogy, it was kind of defined there. You know, the Force came into the hearts of all the Star Wars fans in the original trilogy. So that's kind of where it should stay, you know, and not that it can't break out in terms of expedition as to how the Force is used, but as to what the Force is. It was so special, you know, and the way it's described by Ben Kenobi, and the way that it is shown by Yoda, and the way that it is used by Luke and Vader is just, it was unique in that it was special, and it wasn't solely about the action of it. It was about the wisdom, the mind, you know, bind yourself to the Force and let it work for you, and you know, that kind of thing.
And, you know, when Ben is teaching Luke about the Force, you know, he's saying, you know, he's talking about how, like, you know, you just get the feeling it's this big, unseeable, unknowable force that's just prevalent everywhere, and if you are lucky, you can tap into it and do something with it. Not I have the Force. Lightning.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you said that. There's a real mystique to it. Only certain people could tap into it, and we knew that, but we didn't know why, and we lost a little bit of that. You know, the mystique kind of went away when we started trying to midichlorians and all that stuff in the prequel trilogy. Yeah. That was hard. Now I have four words real quick that go for the original trilogy. This is how I see it. It was simple, like a tick in the stormtrooper's ear on the comms when Obi-Wan Kenobi did that. It was so simple. It's just that little boom, and then it was subtle, like, these aren't the droids they're looking for. That's subtle, you know? It's kind of flying under the radar. It was serene. It required control. You know, like Yoda. He's breathing out. He's lifting up the X-Wing. That changed so much in the prequel trilogy. And then it was sacred. It was really respected for being powerful. As a matter of fact, we see it not only in the sense that it was respected in the movie, like when the guy was making fun of the Force and Darth Vader goes to choke him right at the beginning of A New Hope. But also we saw a respect for it, I think, from the production team who's deciding where and when to use the Force. They used it very intentionally. And so those four words kind of wrap it up for me. Simple, subtle, serene, and sacred. I think that kind of covers the bar for me. Yeah, now, as far as the prequels go, where are you guys at with those?
Extra physical. Extra physical. More physical than I think it should be. Like the Force in general. And, you know, it was overused in the prequels, but it was also underused. Yeah. And I've said it before, how I think that really makes it different entirely. You know, you don't actually have the Force because of how different it's become. You know, just the way that it was portrayed was so much more physical, and not what we wanted out of the Force, not what we expect out of the Force.
And another thing, I feel like you know, watching how the Force is used in the original or in the prequel trilogy, you know, it's almost like they're not even mentioning the Force. It's almost like, you know, because you're a Jedi, you can shoot lightning out of your fingers, and not because you're a Jedi, you might be able to tap into this whole Force thing and do some cool stuff.
Good luck lifting a rock.
Yeah.
Which I think is really where they were at in the original trilogy. Luke, this super powerful son of Anakin Skywalker, he is the answer to the Force. I'm lifting a rock,
and it was training,
and it was.
It's attuning the mind. You know, it's a great way to gauge it.
And I sort of compare it in the prequel trilogy to, you know, a superhero. A superhero having his powers. You know, Spider-Man shoots his web, no explanation. You know, he can just do it. You know, and that's how they sort of treated it in the prequel trilogy. And so that's how
of course, you're talking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, because Tobey Maguire Spider-Man had it actually built into his arms. The Spider-Man comics, technically, it was a web shooter and stuff like that. I digress. The next thing I want to say is that this is where I want to say to J.J. Abrams, hey J.J., please don't market to kids. It's not like the original trilogy needed help selling toys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they sold plenty of toys.
No,
let's make a great movie, and then you can market from there.
Yeah, well, with a new trailer, you know, it's looking pretty dark, and not that it's going to be a dark movie, but I think it's going to be darker than the originals. I think it's even going to be darker than most of the prequels, maybe excluding Revenge of the Sith, maybe.
And it's funny because in the prequels, when it was dark, it felt campy. Because the rest of the movie was not so much. You know, it didn't have that vibe.
It was a little weird in that way. But that being said, I don't think he's going to market to children almost at all. You know, he's doing what he liked out of Star Wars, you know, and kind of whatever comes along with that. So probably not marketed to children. Hopefully marketed to everybody, you know, and that'll be one of the great things about it. And I mean, they're going to sell toys anyway. You know, they're going to sell toys to adults and kids.
Sure. So I've got 4 words for the prequel trilogy as well. Okay, it was powerful. Count Dooku breaking the thing, making it fall on Obi-Wan, and Yoda having to stop it. Man, that's so much power in just a moment. You know, they're just doing that. It was powerful. And then it was pretentious. That scene, Yoda's jumping all over the place. It's elaborate. It's like just flaunting it almost. And so that's that powerful, pretentious, and then it's purposeless. When Anakin Skywalker jumps out of the speeder and falls through all of these different flying cars, it's like, what is the point here to use the Force this way? Now, some may say it's because Anakin's young and all that stuff. I say, hey, remember how the Force required concentration? He wasn't concentrating. He was, no. All right. Finally, it was prolific. It was everywhere. They used the Force constantly. When in doubt, use the Force. And that was frustrating to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost kind of like a violation of the sacredness of the Force, like you mentioned earlier. You know,
yeah, literally. I mean,
you're using the Force to fall off a building.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. No, it's overdone.
Absolutely.
So, do we have any final thoughts?
Not before we go to episode 7.
All right. I mean, let's do it. Episode 7.
Episode 7, I think we should be somewhere in between. I think we should allow ourselves to explore the Force, like in the prequel trilogy. We got some new kinds of Force and that sort of thing. That's great. But I also think that especially the sacredness of the Force, the way it was used, the intentionality it was used with, that really needs to be brought in. I love what you said, Jedi aren't superheroes. I think we need to go with that. Ultimately, it comes down to this: less quantity, more quality. That's where I'm at.
Well, I agree with that, and I gotta say that from what we've seen so far in the newest trailer, you know, when that shot when Kylo Ren is leaning over Poe, that really scared me because you can clearly see he's messing with his mind, and that's, you know, one of the things we were introduced with in the original trilogy, mind tricks, you know, and it's not overdone. It's used in a scary, probably moving on of the plot sort of way, and
it's good.
It's scary.
What about you?
Well, I think you know, lightsabers aren't everything. You know, the elaborate lightsaber battles aren't everything. You know, feel free to use the Force within the battle, but use it modestly. Use it with the mindset that it is special. You know, and it should be used in that way. So. I think they're on the right track. You know, I think J.J. Abrams has really kind of got it going well. So, hey, I'm excited for this movie.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a podcast kind of elaborating on what we've already talked about.
Much longer than this.
So be sure to go check that out. We'll have it up soon. Also, comment on what you think of the video. What do you think about the Force? How do you like it? I mean, you know, obviously the originals are better. But hey,
but are you a prequeler?
Did we just say that out loud?
Let us know what you think. Also, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.